I'm Gregory Sweet. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm here most Friday afternoons from 2 to 4 o'clock p.m. You're listening to 91.7 FM KSVR Mount Vernon, and we're simulcasting on 90.1 FM KSVU Hamilton Concrete Upriver Radio, all part of Skagit Community Radio. Be followed at 4 o'clock by Amy Goodman and Democracy Now! With the War and Peace Report. But before then, it's 3:30. I promised you a surprise of a great singer-songwriter that you're really going to like. So let me cut this background music, and I'm going to take my headphones off here. And I want to introduce you to an incredibly talented and gifted singer-songwriter that I heard at Far West in October down in Bellevue. And I didn't know anything about Nathaniel, but I sure found out pretty quickly after listening to him. Let me get you mic'd up here.
Sounds good.
Okay. We got you on here, do you think? Can you... Let me turn this on my headphones so I can make sure that you're in here. Okay, talk a little bit there, Nathaniel.
I'm talking a little bit.
Yeah, good. I got you.
You
got your
Feel
guitar on
these
here
mics
too as well. Yeah, no, you move them how you need. I can adjust it on the board here. That's
Looks
for sure.
Good to me.
Nathaniel is from Whidbey Island right now. You're an organic farmer, I understand, over there. After I read your website.
Yeah, that's kind of my day gig. At least full time between April and November. Then I get to take a shoulder season there. But yeah, that's my wife and I moved to Whidbey Island from Portland, Oregon, about 8 years ago. And
I knew you were from Oregon.
Yeah. Born and raised outside of Portland, and did music kind of not full time, but I felt like it was kind of at least full time for my livelihood and psyche down in Portland. And then for the past 8 years, made a quick transition into the organic farming kind of lifestyle, and now music's been pushed back a little bit on the creative back burner, but on the kind of the winter down season and some of the weekends, I still make as much time for it as I can.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And you're no lightweight with this. I read you. This is your new album, by the way, is not your first album by any means.
No, I think my fifth solo album, actually, and then I have back in Portland, I played in a handful of bands, a little more rock, kind of psychedelic, indie-oriented bands. And by necessity, just kind of moving up here to the island and it being fairly remote, at least relative to Portland, and there being fewer musicians. And I didn't take any of my heavy gear with me. I just kind of started resorting more toward acoustic, finger-style solo gigs. And so in the past 8 years, I've been mostly writing and arranging and performing solo or with small acoustic ensembles. But yeah, I've been playing for years and years with all sorts of bands at this point. Yeah. The minute I listened to you at Far West, and has anyone else said this to you, that you remind them of a young James Taylor? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, probably I can point to the people in the crowd at every show who are going to come up to me after the gig and tell me exactly that. It's and it's great, and it's usually folks that are more of my parents' generation, which is generally I attract those people, just kind of an older folksy sound.
I guess. I barely remember James Taylor.
Yeah,
I'm
and
too young
it's
for that.
Interesting. I mean, I'm not a James Taylor fan per se. I don't have anything against his music, but it's just when people say that, I think it's coming from a place of a compliment because
without a doubt.
But when people in my generation say that to me, I think it can almost be a little like biting or a little bit of a dig, because I think younger folks kind of maybe look back less fondly on that kind of like folk music, and I don't want to say anything controversial here, anything disparaging about different kinds of music, but I'll just say that like it's not as attractive to kind of millennial folks. And so I've had reviews of my music that have complimented my music with a James Taylor comparison, and I've had like album reviews that have kind of disparaged my music with a James Taylor comparison. Right. It goes both ways a little bit. Yes, but that comparison happens all the time.
Right. Well, in talking with you in person and listening to you today talk on the radio, I don't hear that at all. But when you sing,
Yeah.
and then and not so much necessarily your music, it's your voice.
Yeah.
But it reminds me a lot of his 1970 album,
Yeah.
Sweet Baby James.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's always meant to be complimentary.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
our audience can
For
find
sure.
that out for
Yeah.
themselves. Let me real quickly before I have you start in a song here, I want to be sure and let our audience know that your latest album is called Swamp Rose and Honeysuckle Vine, and it's on Portland, Oregon's Fluff and Gravy Records.
Yeah.
And I see it's on iTunes, it's on Amazon, it's everywhere.
Yeah,
and
as
they
far
can
as I know.
they can get it there. And then for those who are local in Skagit and also in Whatcom County, you'll be playing at my favorite place in the area tonight, and that's the Green Frog.
Yeah.
And is that show 7 o'clock tonight?
Oh, it's 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Yeah, and I'm playing first, and then there's two other bands
I was
after
going
me.
to say, I
so-
thought there's three of you
Yeah.
there tonight. So your show starts at 9. Then. Okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
saw there were three groups all together, and James will take good care of you. He's
yeah,
a great
I've played
guy.
there a handful of times. It's one of my
Oh,
favorite,
have you? Okay.
favorite spots for
Good.
sure. Yeah.
So you know him real well then. Yeah, he's a super guy. That's for
Yeah.
sure. What would you like to do for your first song? It's always the artist's choice.
I'm in standard tuning, and I don't have a pick on me, so I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. I'll play this song. It's a new song. It's called Frames. Now everybody will be listening to my James Taylor-esque voice, trying to make that compare. Well, I lost my key right there on the hook, hiding just outside my frame of mind. I huff and I blame, but would rather not look outside this old frame where I'm forced to deny that I've been spending less time in 3 dimensions, framed inside the last headline that grabbed my attention. Don't it feel good to hold a shiny thing? Kaleidoscopes making patterns from pure insanity. Pixels and bytes bundled up and wrapped tight, yeah, into my reality. Make sure I'm all framed up in my best candid pose when I leave the room. Storylines fit nicely into columns and rows. This frame is a castle from which I look out onto a world full of phantoms and self-conformers, huffing half-truths high up in their four-tight corners. Your frame stands out like a price tag left on a handmade present between yours and that of the next man in line. There's a dark void feeding on fear and resentment, two competing brands of the same disinfectant, spraying facts down when they show up unexpected. Ooh, don't it feel good to hold a shiny thing? Kaleidoscopes making patterns from pure insanity. Pixels and bytes bundled up and wrapped tight, yeah, into my reality.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
Hey,
that was
thanks for having
great.
me.
Is this on the new album?
No. So that Swamp Rose and Honeysuckle Vine actually came out a couple years ago.
Uh-huh.
I haven't updated my website in that long. It still says new album. I'm not as I'm not as tech savvy as I should be sometimes, but I am making a new record actually with a quartet. It's going to be an electric album with like drums and organ and bass down in Portland this winter, and probably some of the songs I'll play today will be off the upcoming record.
That's
so.
perfect. I
Yeah.
like that. I'll look forward to that, and I hope you'll get us a copy up here.
Absolutely,
so we can,
yeah.
we
It'll
can
be a
play
little
your
different
music.
from some of my
That'll be
past
good.
material. But
I got a quick question for you.
sure.
How did you end up making the move from the Portland area, which of course is a very desirable area to live in, to come up, into Whidbey Island?
I always try to like encapsulate this story in like a pocket, short, concise answer, but it kind of eludes me how it actually happened in chronology. I guess I had been working in Portland nonprofits and playing music for 10 years or so. I met my girlfriend down in Portland, and she had also had a career in a nonprofit, but we both had this interest in farming and gardening, I guess, at that point.
Right.
And as we met each other, it kind of conspired to and grew into like this craving to actually like to pursue and develop that skill further, which led to a desire to actually leave Portland and actually give a shot at farming. And I think I'd romanticize the farming lifestyle, I think as a lot of people maybe do sometimes, young people especially. And, folks in your generation back in the 70s during the Back to the Land movement, I think everyone goes through that phase where they, where they like want to get back in touch with nature to some degree.
Right.
And that can take the form of, doing backpacking or having a garden. But for us, it wanted a little deeper experience of actually maybe trying to be farmers. And so we researched a bunch of kind of farm training programs around the country where we could learn how to run a small farm business while also getting the skills and doing commercial vegetable production. And we actually found a program on Whidbey Island. It was kind of a 1-year-long training program.
Perfect.
And now it's called the Organic Farm School, and it's still on Whidbey. And we did that, and after a year decided we wanted to do it full time. And
That's great.
7 years later, now we're doing
full time.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Let's. My guest this afternoon is the very talented Nathaniel Talbot from Whidbey Island, who I met at Far West Music Conference in October in Bellevue. Nathaniel's latest album is called Swamp Rose and Honeysuckle Vine, and he'll be playing tonight at one of my favorite places in the area, the Green Frog. At 9 o'clock, his show will be there. 2 other acts that start before him, and should be a great show tonight. Even
Start
for
after
radio.
me, just for
they're
correction.
after me.
Yeah.
What comes before you? Because I know sometimes James has something at 7 or 8.
Oh, he might have. I don't know if there's an early show tonight,
May
but
not
I'm
be.
playing.
May not be.
I'm playing first at 9, and then the other 2 bands are at 10 and 11. I
Okay,
think.
well, you're
Yeah.
playing. I'll take another look at the
Yeah.
website because I can't remember what I had for breakfast, much less.
No, it's
what I look
okay.
at the-
We're all in the same boat. It's
For
crazy
sure.
boat.
Yeah. What would you like to do for a second song?
I'll play a little more downbeat one. This is also a new one. These are all kind of new ones, and
Terrific.
this is a song I wrote to kind of remind myself how lucky I am to be able to just do music as a creative endeavor, and even if it isn't always going supposedly the way you want it professionally, your ego can kind of set a lot of pitfalls for you that lead you into a lot of places where you feel like you're not getting what you deserve or what you expected, and all that stuff is unfortunate and silly. And I think hopefully if we could all, or folks, especially people interested in creative endeavors, whether it's music or art or dance, if they can just kind of approach it from a place of privilege and just gratitude of being able to do it in the first place, especially if you get any sort of platform to perform and have an audience, it's even a bigger privilege. So I try to tell myself whenever I can, because it's easy to get jaded with music and just kind of get bummed out. It's easy to get jaded in life, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reality is that there's a lot of folks out there with equal talent, whatever you're doing, that or that are more deserving or equally deserving of what you're doing, that would kind of line up behind you and love to have your spot on whatever stage you're playing. And so even if it's a little community radio station, so I'm happy to be here, and I'll play a new song for you.
Too.
Don't let me pretend for a minute now that these songs would have flown up on their own somehow. Don't let me pretend, 'cause I've seen enough to know that a good seed in a poor ground won't grow. You can string words like pearls on the pages of your mind, sing sweeter than any sparrow can, dream taller than the pines. But without a guide up the mountain to where the jet stream blows, a good song won't carry far from home. Point the lights and cameras at less lucky men. The next blank canvas is for an unseen child. A pass a mic down to a countryless woman, singing softly in the shadows. With guitars and songbooks on the nursery floor, change in my pocket and a voice in the choir. For one young man's daydreams remind me of fruits of the earth. Stumbling on stage, I'm mistook for proof of my own worth, and now I'm standing here, not knowing what spotlight I stole, whose airwaves I'm riding, what dice I did roll. We're wilder poets and out there with just a handful of seed in the desert of poverty. Point the lights and cameras at less lucky men. The next blank canvas is for an unseen child. Pass the mic down to a countryless woman, singing softly in the shadows.
You know, I'm going to be really excited to get that new album. I love these new songs.
Oh, thanks.
These are really good.
Thanks
I
so
love
much.
the Honeysuckle, but this is great.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, I like these a
Cool.
lot. I'll be real excited about getting that. And I took a look at the Green Frogs website, and the show starts at 9:30 with Local Ghost, Sky Colony, and Nathaniel Talbot, and that's on State Street in downtown Bellingham, the Green Frog. And let me just make sure I don't stumble on this album, because this has got a great name to it. Swamp Rose and Honeysuckle Vine on the Portland, Oregon's Fluff and Gravy. And I know I saw it on iTunes, Amazon, and all that, but of course you were kind enough to give me a copy of it. I appreciate it. Well, What's next for you now? Is this your busy season for music with the farm kind of?
It is.
In the winter?
Yeah. Generally, I try to make as much as my small moments allow during the growing season in the summer with my music, but I often don't even just have enough physical energy. It's more of just a quantity thing. I get it in at night. Yeah, I get it in the evening, and I don't have much more time or energy than just making dinner and kind of falling asleep and reading a little bit. So yeah, this is really kind of the beginning of hopefully what it will be my creative season if I can pull it off. And my performing season as well. So I play like 90% of my shows between October and March, I would say. Yeah. And which is unfortunate because sometimes the best gigs are in the summer with the festivals. And,
exactly.
But that's okay. And this winter I don't have as much free time as I would otherwise because we're actually, in addition to doing a lot of fresh vegetables, which is the kind of our bread and butter of our farm business, we're actually starting a small seed company.
Right.
And we've had a seed company for a few years, but we're launching an online store, which actually just launched yesterday. And so we hopefully, if that does relatively well, we'll be spending a lot of the winter packing seeds and filling orders. So that'll cut into the music time a little bit too. But I always make room for it, no matter how busy I am. And if things start cutting into music too deep, I just abandon them and reset my priorities. So
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, if you're just joining us, my guest is Nathaniel Talbot, singer-songwriter from Whidbey Island, who is going to be playing at the Green Frog at 9:30 tonight in downtown Bellingham. And do you want to do one more, or would you like for me to play it off the record, whichever you prefer?
Yeah, I'll do one more.
That
Why
sounds
not?
good.
I'm here. I'll do an older song. This is a song called Jamestown.
Sounds great.
Jamestown, Jamestown, what killed the raven, gave crow the crown. Shadows growing long where the pines come down, here in the fields of Jamestown. Turn it upside down, sink that plow into the virgin ground. The amber waves of dust are bound, west with the dirt turned upside down. Whoa, 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 whoa. Railroad ties, sold as stitches but acts like knives. Trail for the weeds and blackened skies, always on the heels of a railroad tie. And in a golden mine, no looking back east if the sun don't rise. A memory dull from cyanide when your head waters in a golden mine. Whoa, 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 whoa. They'll work and pour, there's a peach field waiting on the western shore. Once wild, now checkerboard, and all filled in with blood and ashes. The map drawn by the working poor. And Jamestown, will kill killed the raven, gave crow the crown. Shadows growing long where the pines come down. Here in the fields of Jamestown. Jamestown killed the raven, gave crow the crown. Shadows growing long where the pines come down. Here in the fields of Jamestown.
Fantastic. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
That's terrific. Nathaniel, it's been just a hoot having you here.
Hey, thanks
I'm
for
so
thanks for the
glad
invite.
that I sought you out at Far West, and I mean, well, you had that CD, you pulled that right out in about 4 seconds.
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
you want to be on my show sometime? I said, here you go.
Cool.
It was great.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for the invite. We'll do it again.
Oh, love to have
Yeah.
you. When you have your new album, come back and be on the show again, please.
I will.
And,
Thanks,
you know,
Greg.
it would be just terrific to have you back, and want to thank you so much. And let me just real quickly, we've got about 2.5 minutes left before it goes to Amy Goodman and Democracy Now! Let me just say that Nathaniel will be at the Green Frog tonight at 9:30 in downtown Bellingham, and his latest album, which I, Before There Was Blue, happens to be my favorite song on Swamp Rose and Honeysuckle Vine. In Portland, Oregon's Fluff and Gravy. It's on Amazon and on iTunes. You won't have any trouble finding it at all. Let's go ahead. You know what? I'm going to put another guy on that you'll remember on your way out the door here. Remember Carrie Morin?
Oh yeah,
The
he's
Native
incredible.
American.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is from his album called Tiny Town. It's called When the Levee Breaks. Come back and see me, please, okay?
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks,
so
Greg.
much.